Welcome to How to Deal When the Shit Gets Real podcast. I'm Rieta, and today I'm here with Vinaya. So, Vinaya, how do you deal when the shit gets real? Or just tell us a little bit about yourself.
How do I deal when the shit gets real? I have a good laugh because for me, the shit, what's happening in the world and all of that is basically just a movie. It's like unexplainable why things are the way they are because I don't understand it. There's no need. And to be in misery and fight and we can live happily together. There's no worry. So when the shit gets really real, I basically sit back and watch the movie and have a great time and see where that goes, see what's going to happen. And the way I got to this space is when I was about 21, 22, when I became really clear that the German shit, the box, the way you're supposed to be, that's not happening for me. That is ridiculous. That is not who I am. That's not how I function. Mind you, I had no clue how I function. And I started to go on a journey to discover what is there more to life, or is there more to life? There must be more to life because otherwise this is ridiculous. And so I went overland to India because I had a feeling to go to India and had an amazing adventure, and also really realized by passing through like 6 or 7 different countries and cultures that the way of life can be so different and so much variations, and also that we can live totally together. I was always accepted and welcomed, and it was like an amazing adventure. And then in India, I was still looking for something. I didn't even know what I'm looking for, and found a master, and my gaze went inside. I did shadow work. I worked on myself as much as possible. There's still some stuff flying around, I notice lately. But it really made me aware that I am not this body. I'm not this mind. I'm actually not from this story. This is like just a movie I'm in. Like, it's the best way I can explain it. And it is real. Like a dream. When I dream and I break my leg, I do feel the pain. I get to the hospital. Everything is absolutely real. But then I wake up and my leg is not broken. And somewhat this experience here is similar to having a dream, because I understand that I'm not the body, mind, and the emotions which are inside this vehicle I'm occupying, that I'm just an observer and enjoy the ride. And no matter how crazy the shit gets, it's just, I have nothing to do with that. I don't play this game. Yes, I get angry and annoyed at people when they cross my boundaries, and I sometimes still react. And at the same time, I'm still in my center, and through the awareness that, oops, wait a minute, I'm reacting here right now. Through this awareness, I can come back to my center, and I have nothing to do with any story which is going on around me. And living this life with all the ups and downs and all the pains and misery and joy and celebration and everything, is just an amazing experience. And that somewhat created a fantastic life. Like, it's fantastic. And once I stepped into that, I suddenly became aware that I have a gift to be an example for people, that life can be actually lived without problems, without worries. It's just what happens? And I have no clue what's tomorrow. So I'm relaxed. And yes, I make plans, and God is laughing as soon as I do them, because sometimes it happens, sometimes not. And I have no clue what's going to happen in the next 10 seconds. So be here and now. And so I help people with crystal readings mainly, and coaching, and also assisting. Jesus, sometimes English. I'm from Germany. Sometimes English, even though I speak it for 50 years, it's a little bit challenging. My partner in medicine ceremonies, where people really can experience this feeling, this feeling, this beingness of oneness, of just being. And that's my passion. And yeah, that's
You
more or
meant
less.
you mentioned the German shit. So like for me as an American and other listeners as an American, like is Germany very like strict? Like what do you mean by the German shit?
Holy schmoly. Um, it is very strict. It's very regulated. You have to follow the rules. And
Mm.
even though I learned very early on that nobody knows why these rules are.
Hmm.
Yeah, you don't put your
Okay.
elbow on the table. Why? Because. Wait, that's not an answer. Yeah, because we do it like this. So why are we doing it like this or not? I don't know. We just do it like this. And so it was like, really, what are you talking about? And then the regulations and rules. There is like, for everything, there's a rule and a law. And it's really boxed in, and you have to be the way German is supposed to be. Like, you can't be 2 seconds late. Well, okay, there's a 15 minutes academic time frame you have, but basically you cannot be late. And it's really bad. Or you have to talk in a certain way, even though you don't feel like it. You have to agree to all these rules and regulations. And that's what I would call the German shit, because it doesn't work for me. And it didn't work for me. So I left.
I mean, just on that brief explanation, I'm with you. I would have left too. I don't blame you for leaving. And you said in your preview that you had long wanted to visit the Himalayas. So was that your first stop when you left was the Himalayas?
No, I actually got stuck in Varanasi because I also was really liking drums and
Oh,
and stuff. And then I heard about the tabla in India. So first I stayed like half a year in Varanasi and studied tabla. And then suddenly it was time. I need to go to the Himalayas. So I went to Nepal, and I did a 2 week trekking across the mountains, which was just amazing. And it was feeling like coming home.
oh,
And yeah, it really opened my heart, and also opened my mind, on my eyes, to the amazing beauty of planet Earth and the variety of everything. And yeah, that was coming home. And funny enough, later when I was in an ashram and working on myself and doing groups, there was a rebirthing group. And at one point in one exercise, I suddenly saw myself coming to planet Earth.
ooh,
And I
okay.
was and I was heading for the Himalayas. I just saw that very clearly. And I woke up in Germany. There was like a barrier. I was not allowed to go back there. And later on, it came more and more clear that I have been there, probably sitting in the cave for like ages and doing yoga or whatever, because it really called me. It was really like home. And then again, later, I learned that I was fortunate to not be born again there, because there's also a very strict system, the caste system, which
Mm.
was like when I was born, still really much in place. I don't know how it is these days. And so I would have been put in the box again. And So Germany gave me the freedom of getting out, because in India that's almost impossible. If you're born there, you're just there, finished story. There's no money, there's no way to get out and explore the world. Well, there is, but not really. It's really difficult. Whereas in Germany, or being sort of free, even though I wasn't, because I was supposed to conform, but I was free to leave. I could just go. And so I was fortunate to not be allowed to be incarnated there again. And it was an amazing experience, yes.
Probably kind of trippy to think that you were lucky to be born in Germany because initially you were like, nope, I want out. I don't want to be here.
Right. And it was, but it was also in a certain way a very good school there, because I really understood that I'm not fitting in a box, that I'm individual, that I'm unique like everybody else, but we don't live that. And so in a certain way, it was fortunate to try out to be somebody in that social norm and settings. And then by really trying hard, which I did, then really knowing, okay, I did everything I could, but this is not for me. I'm out of here. And there's no more, oh, maybe I should have tried this, or maybe it was da 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 da. No, I tried everything and it didn't work. So it was good. It was a blessing, definitely.
That that's a good way to look at it. And was it frightening at all to leave your home country with not a lot of money in your pocket and just travel around for 7 years, or it was just totally freeing?
It was totally, it's like I get asked many times, did it take a lot of courage? I don't remember that I needed courage. It was just like, yes, on to an adventure. And yeah, it was just a flow. And it was just amazing. And the longer I was on the road, the more I also experienced that, okay, suddenly I got stuck in India without any money. Oops. So I asked so it was funny because I asked my parents for some money. They said, yeah, we sent you some. But in that time, it took over 4 months for the money to arrive.
Oh my goodness.
So in the meantime, I figured something out. So I became a tourist guide, got percentage on stores, or helped people, or whatever, or went to other places, got some embroidery and beautiful things which are not available in Varanasi. And then I went back there and or did markets in Goa. And then I figured out my way that, yeah, you can always do something. You just need to be available to the flow and see what happens. And yeah, that was also a very interesting experience, because it made me aware of that when I follow my passion, my heart, existence is going, oh, here, you're good. No worries. And I have this experience for the last 50 years. I'm still traveling around, not in India anymore, but I was the last 3 years in Mexico. Now I'm in Peru. Have no clue what's going to happen in the next few days, if I leave or stay. And it doesn't really matter, because I know, because I follow my heart, that I'm always right, or in the right place, and that I always have whatever I need to survive, so to speak, with this physical body, and have food and shelter. And I always connect with people, and there's always beautiful people all over the place. And yeah, so it gives one absolute freedom, insecurity. And I also learned there is no security. The only secure thing is at one point we die or we leave the body. That's secure. That's the only safe or knowing things we have. All the rest needs to be seen. So then coming back into the moment and being here, enjoying every second, because it could be ending at any moment. Who knows? Earthquake happens, house falls on my head. Boom. or I cross the street and boom. We don't know. So stepping into the moment and really, like somebody asked the question, is there life after death? Well, who cares? The question is there life before death? Or
Mm.
am I just dragging my way to the grave and not really be alive and take this shit, so to speak, serious and be a victim of it and get
Yeah.
influenced by it? Or can I step outside and just go, interesting. I don't understand why that's happening, but it's happening. But yeah,
I'm sure I speak for a lot of Americans, not everybody, but I think a lot of Americans get caught up in the idea of like, I can't travel unless like I know where I'm going and I have the money and I have a place to stay. And what would you tell to all those people that have that fear and probably aren't traveling because of that?
for me, it was interesting because when I made the decision to go to India, I decided I need to make it X amount of money so I can, have a good journey and pay my food and hotels and traveling and all of that good stuff. So I started trying to save money, or I tried to save money, which didn't quite work out. And then I realized at one point, well, I just need money to get to the next places. And then I have to work. I have to work in Germany, and I can probably work in Afghanistan or in India or do something and make it happen. And then I just left with like a few $100s in my pocket. And it lasted a long time, anyways. And like I said, when I was broke, I just figured something out and became that. When I came back to Europe, I was a dishwasher in Greece because I got broke while I got to Greece. So, okay, what am I doing? Okay, oh, there's a job as a dishwasher in a hotel. So I was a dishwasher for a month. And then I worked some construction because that came up. Then I had enough money to go back to Germany and did some other work. And then I went back to India. And it is really beneficial, at least in my experience, to leave the country, leave the box, and just experience other ways of living. That one can be totally fine in this kind of circumstances, or see the world like this. And it really opens our mind to, yeah, there's more to the normal life, the one I know. So I think it's really important to travel, and there is no excuse. We can always travel. Even if it's just as an American, just take a bus, go down to the Mexico border and go to Mexico, and you don't need much money. And then you hang out a week or two, and then you go back. But then you have already a taste of a different culture, different way of life, different way of being. So you can then take the freedom to experience, like, how do I really want to live? What is my way? Does it
I
answer
love
your question?
it does. I love that you approach all this with like no thought of fear. I think so many of us get stuck in fear and like what if and if I don't have this, what's gonna happen? So I just love that you're just like just flow.
And
Just
see what
flow.
happens. Fear and worry, I heard one time, I loved it very much, is a misuse of imagination. Because, like, when we really look back, all the time we worried, we're afraid of something.
Hmm.
99.9% nothing bad happened. It didn't come to pass. It's just our mind trying to keep us safe, so to speak. And there is no safety. Like I said, and it's obvious, we don't know how long we're going to live. I work over. I was in Australia and I was driving, and then suddenly we had to stop because a house was on fire. So we had to wait till the bomberos, the firemen, did their job. And there were some kids playing, and so I asked, and hey, what's going on? Oh, it's grandma, blah blah blah. And then the kid said to me, you know, She saved all her life to have a nice place when she can't work anymore. And now it's gone. And it was like such a click. It's like, yeah, there is no safety. And then suddenly it's like, yeah, okay, so why worry? Because I don't know what's happening in 10 seconds. I have no clue. And the worry keeps me from being here now and enjoying this moment where there's nothing to worry about. Right now, everything is perfect. The house is still above me. My stomach is full. Nobody's come and try to rob me or any. Right now, perfect. And so is every moment if I don't worry. And it's my choice.
I love that. And you mentioned in your pre-interview that a freedom from yourself is really important. Can you elaborate on what you mean by a freedom from yourself?
Yes, this yourself, I mean the program, the idea we got who we are, which is not reality. And freedom from the programs, freedom from the confinement, freedom from that kind of self and stepping into my real self is what I mean with that. Does it make sense?
Yes, it does to me. Yes.
Good. Yeah, because like when I was this young German guy, I thought I'm a German guy. I need to, do all these things and whatnot. And I thought that's me. I'm talking about that because it was not me. And becoming free of this idea which was put into me, who I am. That I mean with freedom from myself. And then later with working on myself and becoming more aware of who I really am, then suddenly I'm also not a man anymore. Because I'm awareness, I'm consciousness, and I'm having this body right now, but that's not me. So that's the next step of freedom from myself, because then suddenly I become free of my body, I become free of my mind, because I can observe it. So the observer has to be separate from what's observed. So I'm not my mind. I can see the bloody movie. I can hear the dialogue. I can observe that. I'm not the pain. I'm not the joy. It's just an experience. And this awareness of just being awareness is absolute freedom.
I definitely think a lot of us, myself included, used to get stuck in the like, I am a writer, I am a mom, I am a daughter, and like you said, that's just certain aspects, but that's not actually who we are.
Correct. We are the one, because it's really clear. When we observe an object, it is clear that I have to be outside this object in order to observe it. I think we all can understand that. I'm the one who's watching the object. I'm the one who's observing the object. That's the deepest lesson I got from my master. And I can observe my body with closed eyes. I'm aware of it. I see it. Obviously, I'm separate from my body. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to see it. Mind, emotions, and then suddenly one can step in this space of not that I am angry. No, there is anger. I am not in pain. There's pain, all right. But I'm observing it. I have a distance. I'm separate. I'm free. Nothing phases me. Mind you, the mind comes in pretty quickly and catches me also still, and then I'm like, oops, back in the story. And then I can remember again. And we can practice that any moment. We can step back and observe ourselves moving, washing dishes, walking, observing the outside, sitting on the couch observing a movie or watching a movie. And then when suddenly, and the movie is just great, you know, I watch a movie and suddenly I get angry. What is this guy talking about? And like, how can he? Da, 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 da. I'm in the movie, but I'm actually sitting on the couch and it's happening on the screen. So we have to remember, oh, wait a minute, I'm sitting on the couch. And the more often we practice that or remember that I'm just the one who's watching, where there's nothing happening, there's absolute stillness, there's just observing an experience, that gives freedom, because then nothing actually matters. And one can be just present. And even though the enjoyment of the experience is also something to observe, it's like a very fine line. In the end, it's like, and again, stepping as much as possible, remembering as much as possible, and stepping into this watcherness. Yeah, it's just amazing.
For anyone who maybe feels a little overwhelmed by the thought, how would you tell them to start stepping out? Like, is there a good way you could tell somebody who's really new at this how they could do that?
Well, for once, we are all in a different space. So there's not one shoe fits all kind of situation. It depends on you, where you're at, if there's trauma to be released, if there's this to be done be first, or what. This kind of meditation, this kind of awareness exercise. So it's really individual. And that's why when I give readings, I connect with your higher self, and then you tell me what's important. And since we don't really listen, it's really helpful to have somebody else tell you, and then you go like, oh yeah, right, I remember.
Okay.
Yeah. The other one is like an exercise which you can do anytime. You just briefly close your eyes and become conscious of your breath. Not more, not less. And you're instantly in the present. You're instantly out of your mind. You're instantly out of the pain. The pain is still there, but somewhat you're somewhere else. You're like observing. And practicing that gives you a taste. And then you can go on and further. And yes, it's different for everybody. Try out various things. Just what I believe, or what I know, the first step is to understand that yes, there is something missing. I feel I'm made for something else. Life must give me some more. Whatever I tried so far didn't work. There's still something missing. There's still a hole in here. There's still a longing for something else. Okay, becoming aware of that, and then saying, okay, I'm going to look. I'm going to find out, who am I really? And then existence goes, oh, finally, all right, second grade or third step or whatever is happening. And you will get insights of how to proceed. Takes courage, because somewhat we need to forget or accept that everything I think about myself is wrong.
That's hard for some people for sure.
Yes, it's not easy. Nobody said it's easy. Planet Earth is like, I've heard, the hardest school in the galaxy or the universe. I don't know about that, but I can tell you, yes, it's not necessarily easy. And once you did a few steps and taste the freedom or the joy of like suddenly moments experiencing yourself and experience freedom, It's like you taste first time chocolate, now you have to go and buy chocolate every day. It's like
Yeah.
you can't help it. You can't help it. You have to go for it. And it's worth it. I can tell you from my experience that. And there's one quote I really like, and which I forget who said that, is not everybody is here to evolve. They're just here to remind you how it is when you don't.
Ooh, I like that.
I love that too, because we can see in the examples of people who don't ask the question, nothing wrong with it. That's their path. No judgment. It's just totally fine. We all have our different stories here. And looking at normal people, or the majority of the people, I can't imagine having a life like that. So I have to do something about it. I have to see, I have to experience, I have to find out. Because personally, I can't imagine living a normal life, which is like growing up, learning to speak, to walk, to write, learn a profession, work, make children, work, maybe have a pension and relax for a month or 5 or a year or 10. But basically, why? What joy is there? And for some people, that is joyful. And I can see that sometimes. For myself, it's impossible.
But you know, and that's good. You know that it's impossible for you.
Yeah. And that feeling of like there must be something more or there's something missing, many of us have. We
Hmm.
just need to follow that and try to find out what is missing. How do I find it? And yeah, takes courage, takes determination. It's not easy, and it's very fulfilling.
And so you mentioned your crystal readings. Are you doing crystal readings like as tarot, or is it a separate way, or is this like your own thing that you've created?
It's my own thing, and I didn't create it. It just came to me. I was a crystal freak since I was 16. Like, whoa, crystals. So I was like collecting for years. And then one point, I met a guy in Hawaii who showed what a crystal does with a pendulum to our aura, to our energetic field, how far that goes out without, and how far it will go out with the crystal being on the body. And something clicked. And I go like, I know all this. And then with my knowledge about crystals, like knowledge, I went into the feeling. And I was trying tarot before that because I wanted to give people insights already and because I saw things different all my life. And then I thought tarot would be a good way to help people find out who they really are or what's important for them. Didn't quite work. And after that experience with this guy in Hawaii, it just suddenly clicked. And first I tried out a crystal ball. It's my most favorite story, like the witches did in the past, right? So I got a crystal ball and I tried, and that didn't work. Like, okay, that's not happening. It was like, whoa. And I never saw anything. There was nothing. And then suddenly it just had an intuition. And so I just had a bunch of crystals I laid out. And then when I give a reading, I ask permission to connect with you energetically. And with that permission, I basically become a medium for your higher self. And then I let you pick a crystal. And I take the crystal in my hand and tell you what's coming, which is your gifts, your purpose in life, how to empower yourself, what to let go of, what to pay more attention to. It really depends on the person. but basically shedding some light on the path. And it works like a charm. It's always right. You can always
That
see
is,
like, whoa, yeah, I remember. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yes.
yeah, that is amazing. I love that. Is there a name for it or is it just,
Is that what?
have you created like a name for what you do?
I'm still fighting with that. Normally I call it psychic crystal readings, and sometimes I call it karmic readings or psychic crystal readings. I use both, and sometimes I just forget the psychic because I'm not psychic per se. You know, I don't foretell you the future because that's unknown, and it really depends what step you do in the next 20 seconds. What are you doing? So the only thing which really comes is, who are you? What are your gifts? How do you get there? How can you step into yourself? And then I just start talking. And then something comes out. And then the next crystal, give me. Then I start talking. And when basically your higher self finishes saying what needs to be said, you can ask questions. For example, if you have decisions to make, we look at the outcomes or the energetics of each decision, and then you can make a better choice. Oh, that resonates with me, but no, that doesn't resonate with me. Like, what kind of job, what kind of boyfriend, what kind of house, what kind of whatever. Or how can I relate better to my children, which is often, or to my parents? The question comes often. Or do I have a lover coming in the future? Well, I don't know, but I can tell you what you can do to bring you into a space where you invite your most beneficial lover, the one you really want, the way you really want to have it, because it starts with me. And yeah, that's basically what a crystal reading is. And when I do coaching, we do that twice a week. There's homework to be done. We check in and work our way towards the goal of, yeah, life is great.
I love it. So, for people that do want to work with you, how can they do so?
They just need to contact with me. My website, there's a contact form. There's a booking form for a crystal reading or coaching. Coaching will have first a little intro. We talk and see if we fit and if we can work together. And so that's psychiccrystalreadings.com. And they can also send me an email and ask, which is psychiccrystalreadings@protonmail.com. The website is the easiest way to connect with me. There's also my story there and some testimonies and all the other work I'm doing. And yeah, you can just book there or just check in with me and we have a talk and see if it works out.
Perfect. And I have to ask, because I always love to ask, especially from people like you that have such great and beautiful advice. Do you have any book recommendations for us?
Ooh. Well, actually, yes. Strangers in a Strange Land or Stranger in a Strange Land and Siddhartha. These are two books which really influenced me somewhat, gave me a different point of view. And yeah,
Well, I don't think I've even heard nor read either of those, so I'm definitely adding them both to my list.
okay, cool. I don't know who the authors are. Siddhartha is Nietzsche. I don't remember. It's like 50 years ago I wrote these books, read these books. And also, what I would say, what could be interesting to dive into is, and there's hundreds of books, it's written down discourses from Osho. who had a really amazing insight in the psyche and the mind of the modern people, and gave me a lot of aha moments.
Ooh, okay.
That's why I'm like, and he talks a lot about all the masters and kind of translates what they say into our modern understanding. And yeah, and there's lots of them. So yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. And what final advice would you like to leave my listeners with?
Okay. The deepest insight I would like everybody to have is first the understanding. Oh yeah, that's right. And I'll tell you what in a second. And then the feeling. Yeah, I can feel that. And what I would love everybody to understand is everything in existence is absolutely perfect the way it is. It has a place, it works together with the whole. Everything, including you. Existence creates nothing imperfect. See if you can understand that and agree to that. And then just step into this feeling. Yeah, God, existence, the universe created me the way I am. Ergo, yeah, I'm perfect. And this imperfectness comes from the judgment of my mother, my father, the priests, the politicians, the society, but not from the one authority, existence. So I would love everybody to step into that knowing and feeling of yes, not according to my mother, but according to existence, I am perfect.
That's a great reminder. I know I get sucked up into the I have to be perfect. I have to work on this. I need to be better. I need to fix that. I need to fix this. So,
But who says that?
right?
Either the mind, because it heard it somewhere else and thinks
Mm-hmm.
that's the truth. It's the society. It's the shit. Coming back to the shit gets real. It's the shit. Has
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do with me. No other being in existence even thinks or feels that they're not perfect. They're just perfect living their life their way. Only us, humans, have this idea that we need to grow. And the funny thing is, there is this thing of growing or awakening. But that's not really growing, that's just remembering. We are already perfect the way we are. We just need to remember that and then experience that. So please all don't get caught into the you have to do this and you have to do that. When that comes up, just no, wait a minute. I got created this way. I'm perfect. I might not understand it. My mind might have a problem with it, but God or existence, the universe, not. Live it, feel it, experience it.
And what a beautiful place to end. We just need to remember to just be.
Yes.
Thank, thank you so, so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's great to see you and feel you.
And this is how to deal when the shit gets real, guys. I will see you all next episode.